Right. Video. Yeah, this is weird. Okay, Anticontivods. This is basically a response to his video, but I'm going to get to other stuff because this other stuff is related, but whatever. So Anticontivod again is basically saying we are what we are, and in a form that first denies the fact that we can make distinctions between different kinds of behavior or different preferences or different modes of being human, and realize that, yeah, it's better not to be whatever, hedonites versus decent knights. Like we somehow couldn't tell the difference between being barbarians and being civilizationalists. That somehow it's all the same and you are whatever you were born to be, and we can't change anything and nothing we do changes anything, and there's no such thing as popular memes or popular ideas and instrumentality to mold people into having better character and all this stuff. Of course there is. We are what we support. You are what you defend. We are what you subsidize. I've used these arguments. You get what you subsidize. You get what you defend. You get what you support. What the hell is that? There's always some kind of beeping going on here that really is annoying. Anyway. So this is just such garbage. This is such nonsense that the human beings are some sort of native animal of some kind of reasonable description. They completely aren't. That's part of our evolutionary history, was this fact that we could be almost anything, that we could eat almost anything. Oh, it's just the desk squeaking, okay. And so this is just absolute garbage. And so defend this nonsense. Defend this nonsense that you think human beings can't be constructed into anything. We could all be Frenchmen. We could all be Switzerlandites. We could all be all kinds of different things, and it's all a matter of what we collectively vote on or say, hey, that's a good idea, that's a bad idea, and we will end up conditioning people to be that kind of human. And it's just a fact. You condition humans. You make them. Alright? And the recipe is known and understood. You can make any kid into a sissy, or you can make him into Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can do anything to anything. I mean, it's completely mutable. And to talk like there's some sort of inherent, intrinsic functionality that we all must respect is just... How am I supposed to see that as anything else but the silliest damn fucking notion ever? I mean, to deny the conditionability of human beings, that you can be a Muslim just because you're born in Iran, not because you're Iranian. No, because you're born in a backward, stupid culture. You'll be a backward, stupid asshole, and no other reason. You could have been Albert Einstein, but because you were born in Iran, you won't be. That's why. That's the only reason. So yeah, if there's no bullfighting, there's no drooling, sadistic lunatics watching bullfighting, because they weren't raised on it. I mean, you know, when I was a kid, it actually was on TV, and you know, it was sort of a mixed bag, because sometimes you'd say, "Hey, bullfighting's on." It's totally bizarre and weird, and the only thing that saved me, I suppose, in a way, was that, I mean, not only I did of course find it troubling and disturbing. You know, I didn't have quite my animal ethics then. I just found it like, this is totally weird. It's almost like perverted. It was so weird. Like, what, you're going to torture, you stick these things in the bull first to piss it off, and I could see them wearing it down, and I mean, there was just different elements where I could just see that this is sick. But the thing that made it unappealing to me was the fact that it was boring as fuck. I mean, it was like 2 hours of just silly pageantry and nonsense. You know, the Picanero guys come out, and they, you know, riding around and prancing on their horses, and everybody's cheering, and oh, look how well they're dressed, and oh, look, they're sticking little pins in the bull. Let's piss off the bull, you know. And it was just boring, boring, boring. And then this pompous matador asshole would come out, and he's waving his little caper. I mean, it was just boring as fuck. And you're just like, well, why don't you get to it already, shithead? I mean, fuck. So anyway. But yeah, You don't raise kids to be assholes. They won't be assholes. It's not that fucking complicated. Dumb fuck. Sorry, but I'm really so pissed off at these fucking turd balls. Anti-bullshit man included, for sure. I mean, really, I've been reading his blog, and it's full of these personal shots at my motives, or, the quality of my analysis and all this shit, and he just keeps doing this crap even after we've had this fucking conversation. And, I haven't responded in kind, but it's really starting to piss me the fuck off. And it's just full of little abuses of context of where I've said something, and, well, I'm going to go through some of this shit. So anyway, now, transitioning the subject only slightly to Sam Harris, who did essentially what I did. I did it before he did, but, whatever. I mean, you just establish a premise, and then you do value math based on the premise. It's not that complicated. So anyway, this Dr. Dissent shit fucking turd brain. Anyway, he's responding to Chaz Charlton. He says, we're certainly programmed to make judgments. That's what brains do. However, the idea that one choice over the next is somehow more ethical than another is a matter of opinion. So yeah, opinion that's either rational and reasonable based on premises, or irrational and unreasonable based on premises. So this is all getting back to this argument. These assholes don't think there's any truth in the end about any kind of value equation. That somehow intelligence, smart people, can't tell the difference between a sadistic raper of 13-year-old girls and whatever, Gandhi. That somehow it won't be, in the end, if the smartest, most brilliant computer that ever could possibly exist, or intelligence, existed, the smartest alien race ever, he'd be totally confused to be able to tell the difference between those two functioning beasties. Both cars are somehow equally efficient. It's just absolute, grotesque nonsense. The rules to any game you play are always invisible. They always do have no material form. Okay? The only way you can play chess is you have to be intelligent enough to absorb the fact that these pieces move this way, the ones that look like this move that way. You have to understand the character of the pieces to be able to play the game. And that character is not written in matter somewhere. Okay? The fact that the rook only can do this, and the king can only do this, and the queen can only do this, those rules aren't written in matter anywhere. Alright? There's something that needs to be understood. Okay? And intelligence understands that rule. Okay? It's a rule, though. Right? You can't play chess if you don't know those rules. Then it's not chess, right? So this idea that value would ever be written in the matter is idiotic. Of course it's not going to be written in the matter. It's going to be something observed when you analyze the play of the game. So when we analyze the play of the universe's game, it becomes quite apparent that this sentience thing is distinctly different. It's a rook, and the other matter is a knight, or a pawn. But we can see the distinct difference between the conscious thing and the unconscious thing. That's what intelligence can observe. There's a huge difference in the play of the game for one that's conscious and one that's not conscious. Something different is happening. There's a different phenomenology taking place. And we personally experience, so that gives us a huge insight on it. We experience the difference between conscious states and unconscious states. Okay, every night we go to sleep and we become unconscious. We know what it is. Yeah, I was breathing for 10 hours or 7 hours or 5 hours or whatever the time it is you sleep, and then all of a sudden I was conscious again. So we know these two states. We know a lot about this mechanism, and it's just nonsense to say that isn't a truth. It isn't a truth that there's a huge difference between a conscious organism and an unconscious organism, a dead animal and a living animal. No, we recognize that distinction. It's a recognized distinction. It's not written somewhere in matter. Okay, something that's 5 minutes dead has essentially the same material structure as something that was alive 5 minutes ago. Something that's brain dead has essentially the same structure, except for a few minor changes, as something that isn't brain dead. Fuck. This isn't that. I mean, really, this is just this evasion of obligation to recognize the fact that there is an obvious and easily dissected ethical landscape that we're existing in, moral landscape, to use Sam Harris's words. It's there. It's there to be observed. We can see the cactuses in it. We can see the this, the that. We can identify the components of this landscape that's there. It's in the game. The pieces reek of it. They show the fact of their distinction and their difference. They show it. They reveal it. Jurassic Park. Rawr, I'm a dinosaur leg. Rawr, I'm a British guy. An American movie. Fuck that bullshit. Anyway, here we go. So let's go further here. More ethical than other. Okay, social creatures cannot operate within a set of rules. Social creatures cannot operate within a set of rules. Can anyone understand what the fuck that means? Social creatures cannot operate within a set of rules. Isn't that exactly the opposite of what a society means? Social creatures have to operate within a set of rules. It's the rogues who don't have to operate within a set of rules. Fuck. If the rules offer some sort of benefit to the group, the member of the group will generally judge that rule to be God's will. Moral, correct, ethical, the right thing to do, etc. So, benefit to the group. Now see, this is always the key word, right? Because we know benefits are long-term or short-term. You can win in the short run and fail in the long run, right? America was winning in 1920 and it was losing big time by 1930, right? So that's just sort of a bullshit notion of this benefit to the group crap. Because first you have to measure benefit over the longest term, not the shortest term, to have any kind of value, correct value math. And certainly also, obviously in slavery, there was a huge pit of horror in the minority that was totally eliminating any value of the majority's life. So that doesn't work. You can't torture some percentage of your citizens and then call it a successful society. That is just absolute fucking nonsense. So this is fail all over the place. Doctor. You're not a doctor anyway, fuckhead. The idea that ethics exist as some principle of the universe. The idea that ethics exist as some principle of the universe. No one's arguing that it's a principle of the universe. So this is just this is the slanderous way you guys manipulate language and manipulate what other people are saying. What's being argued is in the creation of the universe, it creates pieces. It creates a gameplay that we can observe and analyze and understand. Okay, it doesn't do it on purpose. It doesn't do it so you can discover it. The speed of light doesn't exist so humans can figure it out, but it does exist. Waiting to be discovered like gravity is pure nonsense. No, it is pure nonsense to say I have a big brain, yet I can't analyze pieces that are obviously distinctly different. I can't understand the difference between a sentient rabbit and a rock. Okay? Saying that you can't do that makes you nonsense. Makes you a fucking nonsensical ignoramus of a fucking butt fucking retard. Not even a butt fucking is too. That is too dignified. No, you're a brain fuck. Okay, to say that you can't tell the difference between a rabbit and a rock makes you. You might as well wipe your brain with toilet paper because it's spewing shit. Fucking doctor. Fuck you. All right, now anti-bullshit man's fucking bullshit. I mean, there's post after post of this crap, but every one of his fucking posts he has to layer with some sort of personal fucking insult that I find totally useless. Why don't you just stick to the fucking subject, shithead? Why don't you just argue the fucking argument instead of implying bullshit, alright? Fucker. While I enjoy a lot of Harris's work, I believe a strong argument could be made that he is committing the logical fallacy of causal oversimplification. Oh, where did that become a logical fallacy? Where oversimplification? Give me examples of this concept of oversimplification, please. Give me some evidence that there's any such thing as a logical fallacy of causal oversimplification. Show me that fallacy somewhere in the world. Show it to me. All right. Gary uses identical tactics. See, look at that. Look at that. Another. What is the use of saying, of even saying anything like that? Why don't you just say what Gary says and then say how that's wrong instead of this bullshit, fuckhead? When he calls life nothing but a replicating DNA molecule. Well, I don't know. Did I ever say it's nothing but in any kind of like it has no other phenomenology whatsoever? We're just one big DNA molecule, and it's not in the context of evolution. No, I'm just saying that fundamentally, that's the engine. That's the thing that is the substance of our whole existence. We exist for this function of a DNA molecule. Okay, the replication of a molecule. That's the primary function. And everything else that we have, the leather seats and the padded steering wheel and the airbags and every other piece that's attached to this fucking thing is attached to it only because of natural selection imposing those tools because the environment demanded acquisition of them. Period. Nothing else. But the primary function is the replication of a molecule. And if you don't see that as if you don't understand that everything else only exists because it furthered or enhanced the capacity for our molecule to get replicated, then you don't understand biology. Yeah, well, that's probably enough to say. You don't understand biology at all. You don't understand the chemistry or the physics either, because it comes down to them in the end. So that's very convenient. So another implication of motive, okay? That, oh, I can't make an argument, so I have to rely on going back to the DNA molecule to find some way to critique the human animal. Oh yeah, so out of desperation I reach all the way back to the DNA molecule. That's what you're implying with this kind of crap, scumhead. Alright? I believe the DNA molecule is the substance of existence. All living things are living things because they contain a DNA molecule, jackass. And that molecule has its fingers, its bloody fucking fingers on every fucking thought you have, every fucking desire you have, every fucking thing that goes on in your fucking goddamn body is pretty much dictated by that fucking molecule in one way or another, you dumb ass. Alright, so fuck you with this bullshit. Gary uses identical tactics when he calls life nothing but a replicating DNA molecule. That's very convenient when you're trying to frame the debate to your advantage. I mean, look at this shit. I mean, what is this crap? I'm framing it honestly. I'm framing it as I believe it to be, you motherfucker. Okay? I'm not distorting anything or perverting anything or trying to frame anything or distort the truth or trick anybody. I'm expressing what I fucking fervently believe, you stupid cunt. And I don't appreciate these fucking accusations of insincerity or manipulation or distortion or perversion. You want to call me an ignorant asshole, then say something proving I'm ignorant, you dumb ass. But I'm sick of your fucking vacant accusations fucking layered in every goddamn paragraph you write, you stupid weasel. Alright. Debate. Frame the debate to your advantage, or pull the psychological strings of your audience. So that's all he said in that paragraph. Just a fucking goddamn attack right at my character, saying I'm attempting to manipulate people's understanding. I'm somehow hiding the weakness of my argument from them and only trying to manipulate and pull strings and all this fucking bullshit. That's what you just said, you fucking cunt. And based on what? Nothing but your pettiness. Your fucking pettiness. By the way, Gary just recently argued that a car is more than the sum of its parts. Yeah, I don't mean that a car is manifesting consciousness. But yes, the noise it makes is more than the sum of its parts. So when it's running and it's making noise, like when humans are making the noise of consciousness, yes, it's more than the sum of their parts. Now there's noise being created. Or, the exhaust isn't technically, well, yeah, it could technically be looked at the same way as more than the sum of its part. And certainly the movement is more than the sum of the parts. Okay, so yeah, when the parts are running, the car does something. And yeah, we do something more than the tissue that we're made out of. Yeah. Nothing magical in that statement. Doesn't, so is life more than the sum of the parts, or is it just a DNA molecule? Well, again, how are the two things separatable? Okay, I'm saying life is more than the sum of its parts, and the thing that it is a construct to perpetuate the existence of a molecule, the replication of a molecule. That's the more of it than the sum of its parts. And certainly consciousness is a phenomenon that seems more than the sum of its parts in every bit of its runningness. When consciousness is running, it certainly has every appearance of being more than just parts. I can't tie it to a single part, in other words. So it's the arrangement of parts that clearly creates the theater of consciousness. You need more than just the seat, and you need more than just the stage, and you need more than just the curtain to call it consciousness. Fuck you. I understand that materials, so he's not a materialist apparently, which is hilarious. I understand that materials like to make arguments about reality on a scale that suits their deterministic viewpoints. You're not a determinist either? It's funny that I missed that. So again, this suiting thing, implying motives, I mean, this is just such bullshit. However, most thinkers and scientists, okay, here we go. So the argument to popularity, right? The argument from popularity uses one of the fallacy of popularity, right? So he's talking about other people's logical fallacies, and then he resorts to the argument from popularity, the most low-based, simplest error possible. I mean, all thinkers, all real thinkers, know that's certainly a bogus argument. Yeah. However, most thinkers, scientists recognize emergence as a reality when discussing things that exist on the scale of the living. Well, yeah, they exist on the scale of the non-living too. Again, blenders are more than than their parts, aren't they? Right? A frickin' toaster is more than its parts. Every machine that functions is more than its parts, because it functions. It works in the world through time. It does things. Doing things means you're doing more than your parts would allow. It requires more than just, there's nothing, it's doing more than moving at the speed of light. Therefore, it's obviously doing something more than the substance of its parts, because its parts are just photons moving at the speed of light, actually. Calling life a DNA molecule really cheats the argument, says you, and entirely misses the point. No, I think it's pretty much the entire fucking 99.99% of the goddamn point is tied up in this word DNA and its evolution through time, its modification as a molecule. That's what's being modified. Read The Selfish Gene, Einstein. Entirely misses the point, but I'm getting off topic myself. Yeah, no, it doesn't entirely miss the point. What point does it miss? What point does it miss to recognize that it's a DNA molecule evolving through natural selection? What fucking point about life could you possibly miss by starting with that fucking sentence? What point could possibly be missed? Yeah, that's right, no point. When Harris claims a scientific approach can be applied to ethics, that statement strikes me as little more than, verisimilitude. Like he needed to do that. Little more than pompous, you could have said, or a little more than arrogance, or a little more than ignorant arrogance, or some other kind of qualifier. He could have used some kind of word that everybody would know. But no, just to be a pompous little arrogant fucking tutu wearing little dancing prick, he had to throw in a fucking douchebag word like that. But regardless, let's ignore his pompous, elitist, obnoxious, disgusting, fucking, like, drippy, foreskin, scummy, goddamn dick move here, and let's just deal with his argument. Okay. So he, again, thinks that ethics, understanding the gameplay, and understanding that the game basically just wipes things off, the pieces get knocked off the board, and the goal is to somehow capture the one kind of piece and say, I win this time, and then you play again and again and again and again. And that a smart thing can't analyze the game, say, oh yeah, this is how it works. Okay, the pieces fall off, this happens, this happens. Let's maximize, let's have it so we know that, like if we were watching a soccer game, you would know that, well, when the little umpire guy has to come out and throw a flag, that's not a good thing, right? But it is a good thing when somebody scores a goal. So let's try to have more goals scored and less flags thrown. Yeah, they could figure out that stuff. They could figure out the simple economics that this is what the game is played, and this is what is good for the game, and this is what's bad for the game. And yes, there's going to be disagreement about whether goal scoring means anything, and maybe the game is really just how many times you run back and forth across the field. So we could find lots of things to call the goal, right? The goal is exercise, or, you know, how many miles you actually run. So the more miles you run, the better. You can come up with lots of ways to redefine the game. But you're certainly going to be able to make distinctions between the good things and the bad things. And certainly as a consciousness, I'm going to be able to do that. Because I have personal experience with these things. Okay, I know what pain and pleasure is. And I'm able to sit there and say things that cause pain are bad, and things that are fun and relaxing and comforting and all that crap are good. And I can do that because I've had personal fucking experience. So I don't even have to be all that fucking intelligent to recognize the value that exists in the game, because I personally experience it, which gives me a huge advantage. So I don't even have to have much of a fucking brain to figure out, oh yeah, you know, eating a cupcake is a lot better than having a fucking telephone pole shoved up my ass. Yeah, I can figure that out without even having very much of a brain. Fuck. Where was I? Alright, and since I recognize the emergent qualities of the universe, I mean, come on. There's no emergent qualities of the universe. That's kind of bullshit, right? I mean, you're claiming there's the universe has something to do with the fucking mold growing on Earth? This fucking parasitic infestation is somehow an emergent quality of the entire universe? No, it's an emergent quality of isolated pieces of the universe. Okay, the fact that a little bit of rust forms on the inside of the cylinder wall inside of a car does not mean you start saying that the emergent quality of a car is production of rust in the cylinder wall. Not really. I mean, it's a minor part of the universe, a minor function, maybe even a totally aberrant function of the universe. So emergent may be aberrant next to it, / aberrant. Yeah, it's very doubtful I'll be convinced he has discovered some truth. Well, that's not what he's claiming. He's discovered some truth. He's claiming that the truth is really quite obvious. We know the basic constituents of value. He makes the point. I mean, you know, throwing up every 3 minutes wouldn't be any goddamn fun. If you lived in that condition, you'd say, fuck this. I mean, he's made the argument pretty simple that we can tell the difference between having a good time and a bad time. And again, I don't like that he uses this word thrive, because it's undefined and ambiguous and, you know, bullshit. But the argument's quite obvious, and it's not that complicated. But he's not saying he discovered the truth. He's just saying, it's kind of obvious, fuckheads. The truth is that the value is in the sentient experience. Duh. There's no other thing of value but the sentient experience, in other words. He's basically saying that quite clearly. They're sentient organisms. They have experiences. They have experiences that suck and experiences that don't suck. And we should logically have more don't suck than suck. Yeah, really difficult to figure that out. No, it isn't. That exists outside the boundaries of the extraordinarily simple. Okay, so he hasn't, so this is just a lie. That's not Sam Harris's argument. He is saying it's extraordinarily simple. And he's not claiming he's found something outside of the extraordinarily simple. It's extraordinarily simple. We are value-making machines because of the DNA molecule needed to create a value engine to motivate us to play the game, because we had a brain that basically created a problem for ourselves internally. Create a problem, so then our thinking machine will try to fix the problem. That's all we're doing. Is we have a machine that basically takes the world that exists, obliges the machine to think there's a problem, so it has to go fix it. And the problem it wants to think it has is that it hasn't stuck its penis in anything today, and so it better get to it. Or it needs to get food into its body so it has energy so it can go stick its penis in something. I mean, it's really not that complicated, and it always goes back to the DNA molecule. And so you're just a scum-sucking motherfucking prick-ass motherfucking turdy ignorant motherfucking cunt to say there's something wrong with what I've said on this subject. Fuck you. Your argument is vacant, immature. It might as well be wearing pink tights. It's such a contrived, petty piece of fluffy bullshit. You didn't make an argument here. You just fucking slandered people and you suck for it. Big gaping cunt man. Knock it off, asshole. Really, argue the argument or fuck you. This is going to get nasty. Because I'm sick of it. Every fucking post.